Imagine for a moment that you are holding a single thread in the palm of your hand.
Okay.
But this isn't just any thread. I want you to picture something incredibly finer than a human hair, lighter than the highest grade of silk you've ever touched.
It's almost weightless.
Almost weightless. It feels like a spider web against your skin, practically nothing. But here's the thing that makes it, well, impossible to look away from.
Mm-hmm.
When you hold this thread up to the Mediterranean sun, it doesn't just shine, it glows.
Wow.
It looks like burnished gold, literally,
Yeah.
like liquid gold that has been spun into a fiber.
It's such a striking image. And just to be clear for everyone listening, this isn't a metaphor, right? We aren't talking about some synthetic fiber or gold leaf wrapped around cotton. This is biological gold.
Right, it's real. Now imagine I told you that you cannot buy this material. Doesn't matter if you're a billionaire, a king, or a fashion mogul in Milan. You cannot walk into a shop and purchase it. It has never been for sale.
Yeah.
And the only way to get it is to dive into the ocean, find a giant clam that looks like a tombstone, and essentially negotiate with it.
Negotiate is actually the perfect word for it. It really is, because you can't just take it.
No?
You have to be given it, or at least you have to take it with a level of respect that borders on worship.
Exactly. Today, we are doing a deep dive into something that sounds like it's straight out of a fairy tale, but is actually biology and history all wrapped into one.
Mm-hmm.
We are talking about byssus, or sea silk. And to understand it, we are analyzing the source material, The Water Women, by Bonnie Blaylock. And this text takes us to the rugged island of San Antioco, off the coast of Sardinia, to track the lives of the Renda family.
Specifically, a lineage of women who are the keepers of this ancient, almost magical craft.
Right.
This is one of those topics that it completely rewires how you look at history. What struck me immediately about this source material is that it's not just about weaving cloth, it's about a specific philosophy of life.
It's so much more.
Yeah, the water women aren't just seamstresses, they're guardians of a relationship between the land, the sea, and the divine. It's about stewardship, survival, and what happens when the brutality of modern war crashes into a tradition that has remained unchanged for thousands of years.
That collision is central to the entire story. We're going to unpack all of that. We're going to talk about how you actually harvest gold from a mollusk. The biology is insane.
It really is.
We'll get into the strict water oath that governs these women, and then we're going to trace this family through the Spanish flu, the rise of fascism, and a harrowing survival story involving a deserted stone tower, and wait for it, biological warfare using bees.
That bee segment, honestly, when I got to that part of the research, I had to put the papers down and just stare at the wall for a minute.
I believe it.
It is such a unique, brilliant turning point in the narrative. It's just incredible.
It's wild. But before we get to the biological warfare, we have to start with the sea's hidden gold. Let's set the scene. San Antioco. The text describes it as a windswept, rugged island.
Very rugged.
You've got wild horses, the Giara horses, roaming the plains. You've got these ancient stone ruins called Nuragic ruins.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have this community that is deeply, deeply connected to the sea. It feels like a place that time forgot, doesn't it?
It does, and the geography is so crucial here. Sardinia is already an island, right? And San Antioco is an island off that island. It's isolated.
The double isolation.
Exactly. And that isolation allows traditions to survive that would have been stamped out on the mainland centuries ago. You have to imagine the smell of salt constantly in the air, the mistral wind bending the trees. It's a harsh beauty.
I can almost feel it.
And within that community, you have the Renda family. They are part of a small, integrated Jewish community that has lived on the island for generations.
It's interesting because the source material paints this picture of a community that is integrated but distinct. They're fully Sabinian, but they have their own specific lineage.
Right. They belong, but they're also separate.
And the women of this family, Allegra, the matriarch we meet in the early 1900s, and later her daughter Zanetta, are water women. Their primary duty, their whole life really, is harvesting byssus from the Pinna nobilis. Now, I had to look this up because the text describes it as a giant mollusk, but I wasn't prepared for how giant.
Oh, they are massive. The Pinna nobilis, or the noble pen shell, they can grow up to 3 or 4 feet tall.
Get out, that's huge.
It is. Imagine a mussel the size of a toddler. It sounds monstrous, but they are gentle giants. They embed themselves point down in the sandy floor of the Mediterranean seagrass meadows.
So they stick straight up.
Yeah, they look like ancient steles or tombstones sticking out of the mud. And to anchor themselves against the currents, they secrete these keratin fibers. That's the byssus. It's the beard of the mussel.
So, biologically speaking, this gold thread is essentially an anchor line.
Precisely. It's a protein structure very similar to silk or even our own hair, but it evolved to withstand salt water and strong currents. It hardens on contact with water. It's incredibly strong for its thickness.
And the water women harvest this.
They do. But this is where that stewardship aspect comes in, and it's vital to understand the mindset here. In the source material, the harvest is described not as a raid, but more like a surgery.
Hey, surgery, I like that.
The women swim out in their long skirts, no wetsuits, no oxygen tanks, nothing like that. And they dive down, holding their breath for, minutes at a time. They find the mussel, and they use a small, curved knife to carefully trim the fibers.
So they don't pull it out of the ground.
No, and this is the key. They do not kill the animal. They take the wool, they replant the shell in the mud, make sure it's secure, and then they leave it to grow another coat.
That's a key distinction. It's symbiotic. If they kill the mollusk, there's no more gold next year.
None.
It stands in such stark contrast to how we usually think of harvesting resources in the 20th and 21st centuries.
Yeah.
Usually, industry implies extraction until depletion.
Precisely. This is sustainable harvesting before that was even a concept in Western economics. It's ancient wisdom. And once they have this raw, muddy, dark material, the alchemy begins.
Right, because it doesn't come out of the water shining gold.
Oh, not at all. It's a mess. They have to desalt it, wash it repeatedly in fresh water, then dry it, card it, and spin it. And the text describes this transformation where it turns from a dark amber sludge into this glittering metallic gold thread.
The source material mentions that when it's held in the sun, it shines like burnished gold. It's just hard to wrap your head around a protein fiber doing that.
It's the structure of the keratin, the way the light refracts. It's mesmerizing. But here is the kicker, and this is the rule that drives the entire ethical conflict of the story later on: the sacred law.
The sacred law. Let's talk about that, because to a modern ear, this makes zero sense.
The law is absolute. Byssus cannot be sold for profit. Never.
Not for any amount of money.
It doesn't matter. It is considered a gift for the soul. It's used for sacred vestments, for marriage shupas, for baby blessings. It is a spiritual currency. You give it away to bring protection or blessing, but the moment you transact it for money, you are breaking the covenant with the sea.
That is such a beautiful anti-capitalist concept. It's art for the sake of connection. It creates a completely different value system where the most expensive material in the world has a price of zero.
Exactly. It's more than art. It's a binding agent for the community. And we see this through the eyes of Allegra, the matriarch, in the first section of our deep dive. She is the embodiment of this tradition.
She seems incredibly formidable.
Oh, she is. Strong, can hold her breath for minutes at a time, and she's teaching her daughters, Laura and Ella, the way of the water.
Let's touch on the training. The source material details how they learn lung capacity and underwater communication. But they also sing songs to the sea in a mix of Hebrew, Italian, and Nuragic. That detail stood out to me.
It's incredible.
It's like they are speaking a language that encompasses the entire history of the island.
It is a linguistic fossil. Nuragic is the language of the ancient civilization that built those stone towers. We don't even know much about them today.
Right, the ruins.
Exactly. Hebrew connects them to their faith and their lineage. Italian is the language of the state. By mixing them, the water women are asserting that they belong to all of these worlds simultaneously. They are the bridge.
But it's not all sunshine and golden thread. The source material hits us pretty early with the risks of this life. There is a tragedy involving Allegra's sister, Ella.
This was a heartbreaking moment in the text. Ella decides to leave the water life. She gets married, she gets pregnant, and she kind of drifts away from the harvest. She chooses a life on land.
And the text implies a sort of spiritual vulnerability when you leave that protection.
It does. Ella collapses at the market and dies, likely eclampsia or some other pregnancy complication. But the detail that Allegra focuses on is just so visceral.
The fish scales.
Right. As her sister is dying, Allegra finds dried fish scales in Ella's hair. It's this haunting reminder that no matter how far you try to step away from the sea, it claims you.
Wow.
It really sets the stakes. Being a water woman isn't a hobby, it's an identity. If you sever that tie, you lose yourself.
It frames the sea almost as a jealous god. It gives you gold, but it demands your life in return. And while they are dealing with this grief, they are still working. I want to touch on the sheer labor involved here. The text mentions that a tapestry the size of a pillowcase, just a pillowcase, takes 2 years to make.
2 years. Think about that level of dedication. Just let that sink in.
It's mind-boggling.
And not just the weaving, it's the dyeing. They aren't going to a store to buy purple dye.
No, they are crushing beetles.
Thousands of them. Prickly pear beetles or cochineal to get that vibrant red purple. They are harvesting saffron for yellow. They are processing woad and indigo for blue.
So it's a complete engagement with the landscape, every part of it.
Absolutely. Every inch of that tapestry represents hundreds of hours of interaction with the natural world. It's not just a product, it's a map of their environment.
It creates this sense that the cloth is alive. It has the life of the sea, the life of the beetles, the life of the flowers, and the life of the weaver all bound up in it.
Perfectly put.
So you have this ancient, slow rhythm of life. And then the 20th century comes crashing in. Section 2 of our dive moves us into World War I.
It's a complete jar to the system. Allegra's husband, Johann, is drafted. He's a fisherman, used to the open air and the sea, and suddenly he's sent to the mechanical slaughter of the trenches in the north.
Just a world away, emotionally and physically.
A different planet. And Allegra does something really touching here. She can't go with him, so she weaves prayers into his uniform.
That's right.
She stitches byssus threads into the lining of his cap. Again, she can't be there to protect him, so she sends the protection of the sea with him. It's her way of extending that spiritual shield we talked about.
It's interesting because the byssus is stronger than wool, but she hides it in the lining.
It's a secret strength, a hidden prayer.
Johann survives the war, which is a miracle in itself given the casualty rates, but the war brings something back with it, the invisible enemy,
Yeah.
the Spanish flu.
This part of the source material is just devastating. We often gloss over the flu in history books, you know? It's like a footnote between the wars. But for the Renda family, it's an apocalypse.
A complete apocalypse.
Allegra loses her father, her sister Laura, and her brother Tonio. Just bam, 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 one after the other. In isolated communities like San Antioco, once a virus like that takes hold, it just burns through everything.
It's so brutal. The family is decimated. But there's this quote from Allegra's mother that I think defines the resilience of this entire story. She talks about stewarding pain.
Yes. All these tears must be watering something.
Chilling.
It's such a profound philosophy. The idea is that pain shouldn't be wasted. If you are going to suffer, you have to use that suffering to grow something new. You steward it, just like you steward the mollusks.
So it's not about getting over it, it's about integrating it.
Exactly, using it as fuel. And that philosophy really prepares the family for the even greater horrors that are coming.
And what grows from that pain is a new generation. Johann returns, and they rebuild the family. They have 4 kids, Lev, Avi, Marta, and Delia. And then, years later, a surprise 5th child.
The miracle child.
Zanetta.
Zanetta is special. She's the protagonist for the second half of this whole saga, and the narrative framing around her birth is fascinating. She isn't born near the sea like the others.
No, she's born on the Giara Plateau.
Up among the wild horses and the ancient stones.
It's foreshadowing, isn't it, the whole thing?
Oh, 100%. She is born of the earth and stone, and as we'll see, that is where her destiny lies. She is the bridge between the water heritage and the hard, rocky survival she'll have to endure later. It also sets her apart. She's of the family, but she's also of the wild interior.
So we move into the 1930s. Zanetta is growing up. She's becoming an apprentice weaver under Allegra, but the atmosphere is shifting again. We are seeing the rise of fascism in Italy. And this is where the story gets really tense because it happens so slowly.
It's the boiling frog analogy, isn't it? It starts with whispers. It's not an invasion.
No, it's insidious.
The source material highlights a scene at a bakery. Zanetta is just buying baklava, something she's done a million times. But a neighbor, Signora Olivetti, sees her and pulls her son away.
That small gesture, pulling a child away, is so painful. It feels so real. It's not a soldier hitting her. It's a neighbor rejecting her.
It's the beginning of the end. It marks the transition from neighbors to others. Suddenly, the Renda family isn't just the fishermen and the weavers, they are the Jews. The radio is broadcasting Mussolini's alliance with Hitler. The swastika, what Zanetta calls the black spider flag, starts appearing in town.
God, the black spider flag. What an image.
It is. And the family starts to break apart. The brothers, Lev and Avi, leave to join the resistance or the army to try and get ahead of the persecution, but they get captured.
So they're gone.
They're gone. The family is isolated. The new laws mean they can't sell their fish. They're being starved out. And they realize they have to hide the legacy.
This is the Oleander box moment.
Yes, They take their best tapestries, the tools, the family history, basically their entire culture, and they carry it to a sea cave.
Which is so poetic, right? They're returning the gift to the sea to keep it safe.
Exactly. They are hiding their culture in the very element that gave it to them. It's a desperate act of preservation. They realize that even if they don't survive, the art must.
And it leads us to the roundup. This scene is just etched in my brain. It's winter, the water is freezing. But Allegra insists that Zanetta take the water oath right then and there.
The urgency is palpable. It's thick in the air. Usually the oath is a joyous summer celebration. Here, it's a grim necessity.
It's a survival tactic.
It is. Allegra knows time is up. She needs to pass the torch before it's too late. It's a baptism by ice. It strips away all the romance and leaves only the commitment.
And as they're walking back from the beach, they see the truck.
The German soldiers are there. They are loading the Jewish families into a truck. It's happening.
And this is the moment of the impossible choice. Allegra sees Zanetta coming, and instead of calling to her, instead of gathering her child close for a final goodbye, she pushes her away.
He shoos her off.
She forces her to run.
It's the ultimate act of maternal love. To save your child, you have to exile her. There's a silent communication, a nod, just a quick nod between them. And Zanetta runs. She becomes the sole survivor, the sole steward of the water women.
That moment breaks me every time I read it. The discipline required to not scream out for your child in that moment.
It's unimaginable strength. Allegra sacrifices her comfort in her final moments, the comfort of holding her daughter to ensure the lineage continues.
So now we enter Section 4, the Sanctuary of Stone. Zanetta flees to the High Plains, the Giara, where she was born. It comes full circle.
It does. She hides in a neuralgic ruin. It's described as a roofless stone tower with a deep well room beneath it. It's ancient, prehistoric, and she is utterly alone.
The survival mechanics here are just intense. She's foraging, she's eating leeks, she digs up from the ground, almonds, wild honey, she befriends the wild horses, but the psychological toll.
Must have been immense.
He starts weaving on a tiny handheld lyre loom just to keep her hands moving.
It's a tether to sanity, it has to be. If she stops weaving, she has to face the reality that her family is likely gone, so she weaves to keep them alive in her mind. It's also a way of imposing order on chaos.
That makes sense.
The world is falling apart, but the warp and weft are still organized. They still make sense.
But her solitude is broken. Enter the intruder.
Yan. A German soldier. He's not part of a patrol hunting her. He's a deserter.
This dynamic is fascinating. He has a gun. She has the shelter.
It's a standoff.
It's this uneasy, terrifying roommate situation.
It is. He just moves in. He eats her food. He dominates the space. We learned he survived a ship explosion and washed ashore. He just wants to wait out the war. He's desperate too. But then he discovers the byssus.
And this is where the violation goes from physical to spiritual. He sees the gold thread and sees dollar signs. Or, well, Lira and Reichsmarks.
Right. He forces Zanetta to weave tapestries so he can go down to the port and sell them to officers. He realizes she's Jewish, and he uses that leverage. Work for me, or I turn you in. It's slavery, plain and simple.
But the ultimate desecration is what he makes her weave.
Oh, yeah, a swastika armband.
Made of sacred sea silk.
The ultimate violation.
That image makes me sick. Gold, which is meant for God and love, twisted into the symbol of hate.
It breaks the fundamental law. Byssus cannot be sold. And worse, it's being sold to the very machine destroying her people. Zanetta believes she is cursing herself, cursing her lineage. But she does it. Why? To survive.
She has no choice.
It's a brutal examination of what we will do to stay alive.
And John isn't a cartoon villain here. He's a desperate man. But his desperation manifests as cruelty. He eats all the food. He leaves her starving. Zanetta realizes she is expendable.
Completely.
Once he has enough money to buy his way off the island, he's going to get rid of the loose end. He's going to kill her.
She knows she has to act, and she doesn't have a weapon. She's small, she's malnourished, she can't overpower him, so she turns to the land.
Section 5. The sweetest revenge. I love this part. It's like MacGyver meets botany.
It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Zanetta notices specific yellow flowers near the almond trees, honeysuckle azaleas, or something similar in that family.
And she knows her botany.
Oh, yeah. She knows that bees foraging on these specific flowers produce mad honey.
Mad honey. It sounds like a folk tale, but it's real science.
Very real. It contains grainotoxins. In small doses, it causes dizziness, maybe some mild hallucinations. In high doses, paralysis, hazardous drops in blood pressure. It can be fatal.
Wow.
The ancient Greeks actually used it against Roman armies. It's biological warfare. It's a known thing in history.
So she sets the trap. She tells him she's found a bee tree.
And she plays on his greed. He's been starving for something sweet. He's just gorging himself on whatever he can find. So she smokes out the hive.
And endures the stings herself.
She sings the sea songs to keep calm while the bees are attacking her. And he's cowering in the background. She brings him the honeycomb,
And she serves it with a side of bitter almonds.
which contain traces of cyanide. It's a toxic cocktail. She uses his own gluttony against him.
The scene where he eats it is grotesque. He's just stuffing his face, mocking her for not eating, calling her weak, and then it hits him.
The paralysis sets in. He starts hallucinating. The bees, he says. He realizes too late what she's done.
There's a struggle. He tries to grab her, but he's losing motor control. His body is failing him, and he falls backward.
Into the dry well in the center of the room.
And here is the moral weight of the story. Zanetta doesn't shoot him. She doesn't stab him. She lets the honey do the work.
She does.
She throws his gun down the well after him and leaves him there.
It's a passive execution. She lets the earth swallow him.
It connects back to the philosophy of the water women. They don't kill the mollusk to take the gold, and she doesn't use violence in the traditional sense to take her life back.
She uses the natural order of things. She uses her knowledge, her connection to the land.
So now we're at the outro, the aftermath. Zanetta survives alone for months with a corpse in the well. That is just horrific.
It's a haunting image. She's sharing her sanctuary with her tormentor's body, and in the struggle, her lyre loom was knocked into the well. So she's lost her last connection to her mother. She is truly empty.
Everything is gone.
Everything.
But then, September 1943, she sees lights over the port, fireworks.
The war is turning. The Germans are retreating from Italy. The island is being liberated.
She makes the walk back to the village. It's a surreal journey, coming back from the dead, essentially, from this wild prehistoric place back to civilization.
What's left of it.
Right. She gets to her house, it's empty, her family's gone, but the house is standing.
And there's that final image. The mobile of stars and moons that her sisters made is still hanging in the window, catching the light. Zanetta is alone, scarred, but she is the keeper of the knowledge. She is the thread that didn't break.
It's such a powerful story. It just leaves us with a lot to think about regarding resistance.
It really does. We often think of resistance as guns and soldiers, right? We think of her brothers running off to join the fight. But Zanetta's resistance was different.
So different.
She used the land. She used the bees. She used her endurance, her knowledge.
And the question of the oath lingers. Did she break it? She sold the byssus. She wove a swastika.
That's the provocative question, isn't it? If the byssus represents a connection to the divine that cannot be sold, did she defile it? Or, by using the craft to survive, to ensure that the knowledge of the water women didn't die out with her, did she actually fulfill the ultimate oath?
Which is to steward the tradition.
Exactly, to keep it alive no matter the cost.
I think she fulfilled it. I really do. She stewarded her own pain, just like her grandmother said.
And she watered the future with it. It's the only way the story could continue.
Before we wrap up, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier, the idea of biological warfare using nature. Because it sounds so cinematic, like something from a movie.
It does.
But the source material really emphasizes that this wasn't just a clever trick. It was Zanetta asserting her connection to the island against an invader who didn't understand it at all.
That's a great point. Throughout the story, Jan, the soldier, is constantly portrayed as alien to the environment. He burns in the sun. He doesn't know which plants are food and which are weeds. He is terrified of the bees.
He's a complete outsider.
He is. Zanetta, on the other hand, moves through the landscape fluently. She reads it like a book. She knows the almond trees. She knows the flowers. She knows the honey. Her victory isn't just about chemistry. It's about intimacy with her home.
So the invader is expelled by the land itself, acting through her.
Yes, that's a perfect way to put it. He was a foreign body, and the island's immune system, with Zanetta as the agent, rejected him.
It reminds me of the turtles. Earlier in the story, Allegra watches a sea turtle laying eggs and crying these thick, salty tears. And later, Zanetta weaves a turtle into a tapestry. The turtle is slow, vulnerable on land, but it's persistent. And in the water, it's graceful and powerful. Zanetta is the turtle.
That's a beautiful analogy.
On land, under Jan's thumb, she was vulnerable. She was trapped. But when she tapped into her water knowledge, even on the dry plains, she found her grace, her power.
Beautiful analogy. And notice that the gun, the symbol of mechanical modern power, ends up useless at the bottom of a well.
Totally useless.
It's overcome by honey, one of the oldest, most natural substances on Earth. There's a definite message there about what kind of power ultimately endures. It's not the gun, it's the knowledge.
So what does this all mean for us today? Obviously, we aren't weaving sea silk or fighting deserters in ruins. But there is a takeaway here about legacy.
I think the takeaway is about what we preserve and how we preserve it. The Renda family lost everything physical, their lives, their home for a time, their freedom.
Everything tangible.
Right. But the knowledge survived because one person refused to let go of the thread. In our own lives, we often worry about preserving things, heirlooms, houses, money. But this story suggests that the most important inheritance is knowledge, resilience, and identity.
That's powerful.
Zanetta walking back into that empty house, she was the legacy. She didn't need the loom to be a water woman. She carried the ocean inside her.
That gives me chills. She carried the ocean inside her. It circles back to the very beginning, the fish scales and the hair. You can't wash it off.
You really can't. It's who you are.
Well, this has been an incredible journey. From the glittering depths of the Mediterranean to the dark silence of a neuralgic well. The Water Women is a heavy read, but a hopeful one in the end.
It's a testament to the idea that as long as one person remembers, a culture is never truly lost.
And now we're left with this final thought, this provocative idea to chew on. We talked about whether Zanetta broke the oath or fulfilled it, but what happens to a tradition when only one person remains to carry it?
Yeah.
Does it become something new? Can one person truly embody a community's entire heritage? Or is it, by definition, transformed into something personal, something different?
A great question. When she weaves again, is she weaving for her family, for the sea, or just for herself? And is there a difference?
Something for you all to think about. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll catch you on the next deep dive. Stay curious.
And keep weaving.